So next topic I want to talk to Charlie about is the People's Gauntlet. That's something that I'm promoting, and it's something that we're going to be launching that very soon. And as a former candidate, I think I love talking to candidates because I want to know the disadvantages. I know what the advantages can be, but I'm more curious if it can be a hindrance to someone who's campaigning, and maybe it's not. I just want to get both sides of the story. So thankfully, Charlie watched the video that I'll put it in the description below for the YouTube clip. Just to give you an example for those people who might be finding out about it for the first time, the People's Gauntlet is basically, we want anyone who's running for campaign, especially progressives, we're targeting progressives, that you need to have a website, and then you need to have a YouTube channel, and then you have to go through the People's Gauntlet. And there's going to be different legs. So one might be, for example, an economic gauntlet, where it talks about anything that has to do with economic topics, and you have to articulate what your stance is on that. We're going to have a justice gauntlet, and that's going to talk about defund the police and which is your opinion of defund the police, etc., etc., etc. We're going to have a real detailed plan coming out, launching soon. Charlie, you got the idea. Go ahead. Let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how some people might view sign-ons to a lot of policies as holding them back or pinning them down. But in general, I looked at what I saw, and I really like the positions you have there, and sort of the direction you're trying to move. I would say that I know some places you always have to consider how the election's being conducted. What what are the rules of the game, basically, and those are changing a lot this year. But for instance, I know you talk to a lot of people who run for Congress. AOC has inspired so many people to take that leap and try to do that, but not every district is Brooklyn and the Bronx.
Exactly.
If you're running in a partisan election, you have to win two elections, right? You've got to win the primary and you've got to win the general. And in places like where AOC represents, winning the primary is the main fight, and
that's it.
It's almost impossible to lose if you've got the Democratic Party line in the general. It's not that way in most districts, so it can be challenging to stake out a really strong left position, because maybe you win the primary, but then maybe you lose the seat to a Republican. Thankfully, I hate that. I hate those games. So I really am lucky that my campaign that I ran in 2018 was for mayor of New Brunswick, a city where the Republican Party is basically dead. They have not run candidates in almost 15 years now for any office. So I was able to run in the general as an independent to the left of the establishment machine Democrat mayor and have a one-on-one battle without having to worry about that whole dynamic of, well, if I go too far this way, the Republicans could win. Thankfully, that wasn't a consideration, and I'm glad it wasn't, because I want to be able to advocate on these issues, win, lose, or draw, to be able to fight for what I believe in.
That's an awesome point. I never thought about that, where in a place that's mostly Democratic, if you want to go to the left without trying to split the vote, you can actually, in this particular instance, you said the Republican is not even a factor. So you're definitely not splitting the vote. That you would run it as an independent, because I did see that you ran as an independent for mayor, and I'm glad you brought that up. So I want to ask you, since we're on that topic about ranked choice voting, do you think that's something that can be implemented at a local level, just like how Maine did it at the local level, and now we see that they're going to be the first presidential state that they can do it at the presidential level? Go ahead.
Yeah, super encouraging to see that. I know there's a strong coalition of people here in New Jersey pushing for that, and I think that local...
Really? You got to hook me up with those people, man. I'm very interested in that, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's called Voter Choice New Jersey, and I know they've had some really good meetings. I think that local is probably realistically the place where it's going to start, where it's most likely to be tried out. I know, I think the mayor of Trenton was just posting yesterday about how he would like to see that, or how he was suggesting it could be an improvement. And what a lot of people don't know is 100 years ago, many New Jersey cities used ranked choice voting.
Really?
And yeah, I only learned this by looking at old newspaper articles from back in the day in New Brunswick.
Okay.
But we had a ranked choice voting system when we switched to the commission form of government in 1915.
Okay.
You basically had, I think 4 choices. You could pick your first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice, and then it would be added up, and the rightful winner would be declared. I still haven't found out why they got rid of it. I'm trying to figure out when and why, but I know in the 20s and even into the 30s, New Brunswick and Trenton and other cities that had the commission form of government used ranked choice voting. So I'm very curious whether there was a court decision or a change in the law. What stopped that from happening? Because it seemed like a superior system from the limited information I have. It seemed like it was working fine.
Wow. So definitely, I'm interested in that. So just to get back to the People's Gauntlet. So I'm definitely glad that you said that, because I want to know what the disadvantages would be for someone who, this is my vision for the People's Gauntlet. It's as if you're walking down the street, you're giving out your pamphlets, and a constituent comes up to you and say, hey, what do you think about ranked choice voting? What do you think about healthcare? And I just want you to honestly give us your pitch to that constituent. So the idea came out of Colin Allred. He was a fallen justice. I had a video called The Case of the Fallen Justice Democrat, where he was promoting that he was for Medicare for all. And he got on TYT, which is a big progressive indie media, of course. And he used that, he was a Justice Democrat. He used that brand to put himself to the forefront of that campaign, that primary, I'm sure. Once he won, he dropped it like a bad habit, right? So that's where I wanted to have this People's Gauntlet, have you articulate how you feel about the topics, and so that we can hold you accountable. We can kind of gauge if you're not really talking about it like you're really convinced that it is truly the policy for you, then we can kind of know, okay, on to the next one. Who's the next person? If you're the only progressive in the race, then okay, obviously you got a monopoly there. But if there's a bunch of progressives in there, now we want to know who we're going to give our money to. We want to know who we're going to volunteer for. And that's the ultimate goal with the People's Gauntlet. We want it to be a resource for people to find volunteers and find money. That's coming down the line. Any last words on the People's Gauntlet?
Yeah, I just agree. It's really important to pin people down while they're running. That's kind of the point of the campaign, is to find out where people stand. And as you said in your other video, sometimes people like to keep it real vague. It's better when you can pin people down and say, here's the policy. Do you support it? Yes or no? And get them on the record, because just in case they win, you want to have that commitment before other people start whispering in their ear and changing their opinion.
Totally, especially since a lot of incumbents do not debate, and that's how you can find out more about what they're thinking. Hector Osigueda, he ran in District 8. He couldn't debate the incumbent. We have Shahid Buttar over there in California, going up against Nancy Pelosi. He can't have a debate. They're not allowing their debate. So I'm hoping this catches on, and we're going to launch that soon. In the comments below, let us know if there's any particular issue that you guys saw the People's Gauntlet that I might be missing out. I know I've seen some comments of people saying there's certain topics that I missed, and I'm definitely going to add those. And we're doing this together, everyone. We're organizing and we're strategizing together. Like and subscribe.